poetry and quotes, especially this year, with so many things to do at home. And I found one that really caught my eye. Stab the body and it heals, but injure the heart and the wound lasts a lifetime, by Mineko Iwasaki. So, now I ask you, what is living inside out? What is the first thing that comes to mind when I say that statement? You may be thinking, listening and talking, self-care, or maybe you're still wondering about what this girl is talking about. I'll start first by explaining what is living outside in compared to living inside out. When I first started to explore this, I thought, isn't that the same thing, just a different way of saying it? I realized that I was totally wrong. Living outside in is pretty easy to explain. You're living in the reality of others and what other people think of you. And of course, that is not good for neither your physical nor mental health. I'll give you an example. Letting social media decide you as a person based on the likes and recommendations that a computer's algorithm gives you, based on what you search, visit, or view. And letting yourself think, wow, this computer really knows my essence. Or another idea. Maybe, at least one time, any of you have experienced someone saying a negative comment to you and your parents just saying, oh, well just don't listen to them, kiddo, you got this. I know I have. But people have called me acne scars. Yeah, I know, acne scars. But am I really going to let that outside define my inside, rather than my inside defining my outside? More when the outside always changes into a brand new day and scars heal, like Mineko says. Living inside out is living from the heart. And believe me, that is a challenge. Sometimes, more often than not, we choose to ignore our hearts, and that is the worst humanly thing to do. Because not only it takes a big toll on your mental health, but in your physical health as well. And even more dangerous, your life choices. I'll give you an example. Last June, I was in such a dark place because I didn't want to realize that I couldn't do what I loved anymore because of the pandemic. And since I didn't want to feel pain, I ended up ignoring my suffering heart, and that led me to not just feel pain, but to not feel anything at all, including my passion, fear, and worst of all, my happiness. That really messed up my life for a second there. I used to eat so unhealthy, sleep until 4 in the morning, wake up past noon, and I only spend my time looking at my phone, trying to ignore myself with the quote-unquote perfect life of influencers, celebrities, and many other people on social media platforms, and their so-called happiness, which, by the way, isn't always what it seems. But at the time, any glimpse of happiness that I could get was just enough to keep me stable. But eventually, that was not enough, and I realized that other people's happiness does not feel mine. And that eventually led to it taking a toll on my physical health. I got some stomach problems, and that led me to go to the doctor's office. So, you may be wondering how I got out of that situation. Well, it wasn't easy, but I realized that I just had to stop and listen to my heart. What I mean by this is to stop ignoring myself and my emotions. But, as tough or as easy as it could be, I had to do it. I had to do it before it was too late. And too late could lead to depression, anxiety, unhealthy habits, and many more severe things. So, now I question myself, why are we doing such horrifying things to ourselves? Just to not feel pain? Is that really what we're scared of? Or is it something deeper? What if I told you that in reality, we are just scared of ourselves? Crazy, isn't it? Scared to realize that maybe if we embrace our pain, we will break or never come out of it. Maybe because society, friends, or even family wants us to believe in this perfect feel-good life we see in movies or stories, where everybody has everything under control. Still, some of you may be wondering, what can a 12-year-old with very little experience about life tell us about life? Well, I'm not that experienced, but this is what I learned. The first step was to realize that I was hurting, because in my case, I wasn't seeing my friends. And I was feeling sad too, because I didn't get my elementary school graduation party, or that trip to Disneyland that I was so excited for. But behind my sadness, I was frustrated and mad too, because I couldn't control the situation, and it didn't seem to end soon. But then, I felt really guilty. Guilty for feeling bad for myself when people were losing loved ones and people I knew were getting sick. And I was perfectly healthy, and my family members were all right. So it got to a point where I was feeling worse, but I just had to let it sit and flow and not feel numbness anymore. I cried a lot. Some days I didn't even want to talk to my own family. But that led me to realize that I wanted to stop feeling that way. Stop feeling sorry for myself and find a solution. So I began to listen to my heart. We all have that one voice inside that knows exactly what we need at the time we need it. Well, all I needed was space. A place for me to communicate with myself and my family members. More contact with the memories that my heart used to enjoy, and even the ones that I didn't have before quarantine, such as discovering new music, writing, drawing, and learning to play the ukulele, which I truly love today. Overall things that just kept me creative, happy, and intuitive, to find myself again as a soul, like in solitude. I now wonder. Then, day by day, I started to see changes, like feeling more ethereal in a world of chaos. Not in the cliche way of saying it, but really feeling it. Overall, just more happy. Even though the world was crazy around me, I realized that always finding the positives and following my heart eventually led to me having a semi-fun year. I got to go bike riding in the summer, see some of my friends taking safety measures, discover nature, and many more things that really made my year, that helped me discover who or what I was, and began to forget as a 12-year-old. So, does anyone remember earlier in the talk, I mentioned about this voice inside that knows exactly what we need at the time we need it? Well, there's not only one voice, but two that everyone hears. The heart and the mind. The mind is a loud voice full of knowledge, future achievements, and your identity from other people, such as your friends, family, or religion. But the heart is a soft voice that doesn't know a lot, isn't really witty either, but it focuses more on the beauty, love, and passion, and just living in the moment. When you are a baby, you are pure of heart. Why do you think we would laugh at a dog passing by, or cry when our cheese was not cut properly? But as we start to grow older, we start to listen to the should and the shouldn'ts, the good and the bad, the desires and expectations put upon us or created by our own selves. Don't get me wrong, that's not bad. But as we start to grow older, we start to forget to listen to the same small heart with such a soft voice. How can the heart be heard over the large knowing mind? The tricky part is to find a time of solitude and let your mind be trained to listen to your heart. And if those two find an agreement, everything will start to clarify and find its natural course again in your pursuit of joy. So, whenever you're in a pickle that you cannot solve, or feeling blue, always remember that the only way out is to embark in a journey within. As the wise words of the poet Rumi says, listen to silence. It has so much to say. Thank you very much.